My channel. As you can see by the title, you kind of know what this video is about. It's T-minus 25 days and counting till I ship off to flight attendant training. So when I decided to be a flight attendant, I researched a whole bunch of different videos and just got a real big job description about what it really was to be a flight attendant. So this is just a quick little video just for anybody who is a flight attendant candidate, or you're starting the application process, or you're just kind of just deciding if you want to take this career path. This is a quick little video just to kind of tell you my experiences with applying and getting my CJO to go off to flight attendant training. Well, there are different airlines that you can go for. You have your main line, and then you have your regional, and then you have your other courier lines. So you want to definitely research what kind of line you want to go with. I decided that regional would be a little bit better for me, so that's where I went. But I can kind of tell you about the whole interview process. So with my airline, we had an open interview session. So you didn't have to get an invite to go to the interview session. You can kind of just show up and have your chance of having a face-to-face interview with the recruiters there. So the whole process is a really long process when you actually go to the interview site. We got there at about 5 o'clock, and I don't think we ended till about 12 o'clock midnight. So it's a long day. So prepare yourself, if you're definitely going to go to an open session, to be there for a while. So once you get there, you check in, and then, well, the line I'm with, you check in, and then they measure you to make sure that you meet the height minimum, like their height requirement. My airline was 5 feet, so I believe you have to be between 5 feet and 6 feet. So upon checking in, they measure you to make sure that you meet the height requirement. Then you go into this big room. At my session, there was probably about 100 people there. You go into a big room, and you just sit down in chairs, and you're kind of waiting for the recruiters to come around. My advice to you is, when you're sitting down there, you want to have a conversation with the candidate sitting next to you. You want to be open. I noticed that they're watching you from the time you get in there, so they want someone who's open and friendly. So you definitely want to be open and friendly, and kind of talk a little bit to the people that are sitting next to you. After you sit for about like 25 minutes, they come in and they give you a more in-depth description of what it entails for a flight attendant. They also, my line is very strict on tattoos, so they went over this policy again, and it was like, make sure you don't have tattoos in certain places, which were like your back of your hands, your wrist, between your elbow, I think, and your wrist, your legs from your knee down, on the top of your feet, behind your ear, your neck, were places that you could not have tattoos. So after they go over the job description and they go over the tattoo policy, you have your choice where you could either, if you had concerns about a tattoo, you could then break out, and we could talk to the recruiters and see if it would be acceptable or not. My sister had a little tiny tattoo on the back of her wrist. It was really, really small, and they told her that that was not going to be acceptable, because you can't cover the tattoo with a watch, makeup, a band-aid, nothing. You just cannot have anything in that spot. So unfortunately, my sister and a couple other people could not go any further into the interview. So after that, the group kind of dropped down to maybe like, I would say we were right at 100, maybe dropped down to like maybe like 87-ish, around that number. Then after that, you go into where you're back in the same room, and you're gonna have 60 seconds to answer the question why you would make a great flight attendant. And it goes through the entire list of people in there, so it is pretty long. you want to make sure you have 60 seconds. So you want to make sure you're right at 60 seconds and you don't go over. I think if you are under 60 seconds, it's better than actually going over 60 seconds. So you want to make sure if you're going to go to one of these open calls, you do have a watch, so you can kind of keep time as you're talking, and making sure that you don't go over. Also, it is required for flight attendants to wear a watch, so I would think it'd be good to wear a watch when you go to the interview session. So you want to just like kind of talk about your experience, talk about why you'll make a great flight attendant. Definitely smile. I know that sounds kind of like cheesy, but smiling is good. They want to see friendly faces, so definitely smile a lot when you're doing your presentation. So after the presentation ends, it's about, I want to say ours was close to like an hour wait because it was a lot of names. So it's about an hour wait, and then after that they post the people that can go on to the face-to-face interview. And those are your one-on-one interviews you have with the recruiter. With the one-on-one interviews, I think we jumped down from 100 to about like 87 after the tattoo and if you really thought that this job was for you kind of speech, dropped down to about 87. And then after that, after the 1 minute speeches, I want to say it dropped down to probably about 25. So it was very competitive. We had 100. 80 went and gave a presentation, and maybe I say about 20, it could have been less than 25. About 25 were the ones going on to the face-to-face interviews. So it is competitive. I had no idea when I decided to be a flight attendant that it was that competitive. I think this career chose me. I didn't really choose this career. I always thought that I wanted to be a flight attendant, but it really chose me in a way because this is the first airline that I've ever applied for. This is the first open call that I ever applied for, and I didn't have that much background knowledge about a flight attendant. So after that, they give you your one-on-one interviews. You want to make sure when you're having your one-on-one interview, it's been a long day, so you still want to stay upbeat, you know, because that is the life of a flight attendant, is having long days, and they want to make sure that somebody, I think that's kind of a reason that they make it that long, because they want somebody that is going to be able to keep their energy level up when you're having a long, kind of stressful day, because the interview process at one of these open sessions is long and it is quite stressful. So after then you go into the room, they call you one by one, and you have your face-to-face interviews. When I went, there was 3 recruiters, so there were 3 little interviews going on in different corners of the room at the same time, so it kind of moved people a little bit faster. My one-on-one interview, I want to say, lasted about 30 minutes. It was pretty in-depth. They ask you pretty much the basic questions that anyone would ask you at an interview, but you just want to make sure that you are answering them clear and concise. That's really important. So after that, they then tell you, though, that my camera died, where I left off, and I hope the shot is good because it took me a long time to make sure that I am in frame. So where I left off is after once you're in the one-on-one sessions and you're going back and forth and you're doing your interview and they're kind of asking you the pretty standard questions, you do want to keep upbeat because it has been a long day. After that, they then tell you you have 2 weeks to hear back from them. You will either get an invite for training, or you will get a thank you for applying letter, and then I believe it's 90 days. I think the airline I'm with is 90 days. Some lines are like 6 months, some are like 90 days, some are a year. So you definitely want to check with that to see how long you can apply to the next either open session, or you can apply again and get an invite. Also, if you were one of the people, let's say maybe you had a tattoo and you were getting it removed, like if my sister, she had that little tiny tattoo. I don't know how tattoo removal works, but if it can be removed in like a couple sessions, and I think it's, I can't remember how many days, but it's removed before the time where you can apply, then you can come to another session. So you still would have to wait those 90 days. It's not if you just interview the face to face. It's actually if you come and you check in, then you have to wait the amount of time to apply again. So after that, they give you 2 weeks. In my case, it took, I think it was exactly two weeks, because I kept checking my email. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I get it? Did I not get it? And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, it was coming up right on 2 weeks, and I was like, you know what, I didn't get it. And then I think I was on my way home from work, and I got in my car and I just scrolled through my email, refreshed it, and I saw the email, and I was like, click on it, and it was like, congratulations, and about the training date. So I was really excited about that. If you I'm gonna try to post videos like 2 times a week leading me up to training, so I can really keep you guys in the loop and keep you informed, and answer any questions that you have. Also in the description box, I'm going to try to link some of the YouTubers that I do follow that did help me along my way when I was kind of discovering a little bit more about becoming a flight attendant, and it really helped me to get even more excited about this career jump. So I'll leave them in the description bottom box so you can kind of see their videos, and they're actually online and they fly for different airlines, so you can kind of just get a different feel for where you fit in. Once again, thank you for watching my video. Subscribe, thumbs up. Each video is gonna get better with time. So I love you all. Take care.